All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is June Collier. We are almost ready to get started. We've got about 3 minutes before the call actually starts. Miss Sandra H. Miss Hightower, welcome to the call. I see you guys are logging in. We've got a lot that's going on. We are happy to have you on the call tonight. As we are waiting and getting set up and getting ready for the call tonight, one of the things that I do want you to know is that if you want to ask a question, we are answering all questions at the end of the presentation. However, you must be inside of the Zoom room in order for us to see your question. We are streaming this live on Facebook Live. So if you are communicating or participating on Facebook Live, we will not see your question until the session is over with. So you had to register or have to register, get that Zoom link. Registration is free. Just go on over to sundaynightcall.com. You can register and that will give you the Zoom link. And then with the Zoom link, you can ask your questions till your heart is content. We will see those questions and we will make sure that we answer your questions. We do not want to leave anybody out. That is not our nature. That is not who we are. But we want to make sure that you follow proper protocol. If you are watching us from Facebook Live, we will see your comments at the end of the presentation when we close out. We will not see it during the live presentation. So if you are interested in having your questions answered, you have to register at sundaynightcall.com in order for us to actually see your question inside of the Zoom room. I hope that is something that you understand. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually gone live on Facebook. So if you are sharing this in a group, if you're sharing this with one of your friends or a set of friends, we are live on Facebook. You can head over to June Collier, facebook.com/June Collier. You can share the live stream from my page and get that out to all of your followers if you choose to do so. Our presenter for tonight is standing by. He's got some great information to share with you. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. We're now going to cover the second gift tonight. That second gift is the gift of the server gift. You're going to learn a lot about the server gift tonight. So we're excited as we are looking at all of the students who have gone out, gotten their book. They've actually shared the book and the picture of themselves holding their book. And I'm so excited that you guys are going through this course. This is probably my third or fourth time going through this training. And it is always enlightening. I always learn something new each and every time that I go through the training. So I am sure that this training will change your life as it has done mine. It has definitely given me purpose. It has driven me to focus on that gift that God has given me. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started here momentarily. Give us a few seconds and we'll get this show on the road. All right, I just want to welcome some people to the call as you are logging in. We got Mr. Andrew Nixon from North Carolina. Welcome to the call. Mr. Anthony Moon from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to the call. Danielle and Latoya are on the call as well. We're glad to have you on the call. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you guys had a great honeymoon and are ready to get this training going. We've got Delicia. We've got, let's see who else we got. Miss Johnson, Esther Johnson. Welcome to tonight's call. My dear friend, Mr. Greg Satterway. Mr. Gregory Napier, Miss Jacqueline Siebels from Winsboro, South Carolina. Welcome to the call, Miss Jacqueline. Jean, Mr. Kevin Pugh. We've got Katina that's in the house. Man, we've got so many people logging in. I can't hardly keep up with the names here. We got Mr. Marion Sanders from North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, that is. Latanza Woods, glad to have you on tonight's call. Miss Sheila Avant. Miss Sheila, welcome to the call. Welcome to the call. Again, Miss Sharon Daniels. Miss Sharon Daniels is on the call as well. Welcome. Tiffany Cogdale, welcome to the call. Man, we've got so many people that's logging in. The names are just flying by. Mr. Cruz, welcome to the call. Glad to have you on the call. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got about 3 minutes before we want to kick this call off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up with introducing our speaker. I'm going to do something a little bit different this afternoon because this is the session 4. So you guys have heard from him. You know who he is. You know all about him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over and I want to just share a few things with you. I'm going to head over to his website at purposefinders.com. I want to just share with you his mission and what he's all about. So let's just start there. At Purpose Finders, our mission is to help our students excel in life. We believe that every person has an innate responsibility to maximize his or her destiny in their personal life, their careers, and in their homes and marriages. We aim to assist our students in all 4 of these areas so they can live lives of peace, confidence, and fidelity. At Purpose Finders, our mission is to help you discover your destiny. Purpose Finders offers life-changing seminars that are dedicated to helping people discover their purpose in life and conquer their divine destiny. We are not motivational speakers. Our passion is in helping people identify what motivates them so that they can excel in business, school, ministry, or whatever arena they choose to pursue in life. Through our Adult Gift Seminar, we will help you narrow down your choices for careers, ministries, and even majors for school. A great man once said, if you work in your purpose, doing what you enjoy, you'll never work another day in your life. At Purpose Finders, we believe this to be true. We have dedicated our lives to helping people to discover and fulfill their purpose in life so they can maximize their destiny, peace of mind, and ultimately fulfill God's purpose for them on earth. We empower churches, businesses, and students in a variety of ways. Purpose Finders is a subsidiary of Nobleman Enterprises based in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, what an awesome, awesome, awesome purpose for Purpose Finders. And without any further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the owner of Purpose Finders, that nobleman himself, our master presenter for today, Mr. Lyndon Early. Mr. Early, are you there?
I'm there. I'm here. Ready, brother.
The call is yours, sir.
All right, appreciate it, June. Thank you again for that wonderful introduction, and taking that different approach was awesome. It reminds me of some things. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, but it reminds me of some things that you said that a great man once did say, that if you work in purpose, you find something that you enjoy, that you love doing, you'll never work another day in your life. And towards the end of the last couple of sessions, we're going to talk more about what to do with the gifts and applying the purpose, applying it to your purpose. But I want you to take something to heart today. Really, really, really take the things that we're talking about today to heart, not only for yourself, but for people that are in close proximity to you as well, because your purpose involves other people, right? And so I want to make sure that I share these the best I can. So, June, if you could just confirm once you can see my screen. I think I'm good to go, actually. I have my other monitor up here.
You are good to go.
Okay, so we'll get started. Good evening, everyone. Our hearts and prayers goes out to the gentleman who lost his life here in Atlanta. We want to continue to be prayerful for those situations, for those officers, for everybody that's impacted. To the point now, we don't know what's good, what's bad, who's good, who's bad, who means well, who didn't mean well, and so we don't know. So continue to lift those people up. But what I want to do today is go straight into the teaching and talk about the server gift. So I welcome everybody out to session 4 of the Purpose Finders Academy. Today, we will be talking about the server gift. So I first want to recap and talk about some things that we actually mentioned in the Purpose Finders Academy. For those of you who are not visiting during the week, make sure you go over in Facebook. It doesn't cost anything to join. You can join the Facebook Purpose Finders Academy. I think this week we got about 20 new members. I welcome you out now. I have not welcomed you out in the actual chat room yet, but I will this evening once this is over. But I want to welcome everybody out. Make sure that you're checking periodically to make sure that you're getting the information and the nuggets that we're sending throughout the course of the week. So one of the things that we have already talked about was this. The server gift that we're going to talk about tonight is driven partially by the will, partially by the emotions. So that willpower kicks in and then the emotions. So they're very emotional about the things that they will to do. So the server is a strong will gift, right? So keep in mind that you're partially driven by the will and partially driven by the emotion. That's key for us to begin to understand what it is that motivates the server to act, okay? Another thing that we talked about was the 2 categories of giftings. So the 2 categories of giftings that we know exist are speaking gifts and serving gifts. So if you look to the top of the red dash, you'll see the speaking gifts. Teacher, exhorter, perceiver, and administrators, by all intents and purposes, for the most part, not every single time, because some teachers can write books and don't have to say a word. They can just write instructions. You can be an expert at instructional design. You can be an expert at corporate writing, those sorts of things. You don't have to necessarily talk when you're doing that. But for the most part, these gifts have to speak in order to complete the task to which they are assigned in as it pertains to gifting. Okay, teacher has to be talking to tell you what they're thinking. The exhorter has to be speaking in order to encourage you for the most part. Now, again, they can write articles, so this isn't every single time, but the perceiver is the eyes of the body. The perceiver has to tell you what they are seeing that's best for you. And we learned last week that the perceiver is called to intercession, so a perceiver is called to prayer. So when you pray, you should be praying verbally to God. Doesn't have to be verbally, but it's really good when it is verbal, all right? And then the administrator, in order to speak to other people, the administrator has to be in a situation where they're speaking to people. So Otis, I'm checking my sound here. Do I sound okay?
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, good. All right. So then the administrator has to be in a situation where they're speaking to people and telling them what to do. Today, we're talking about the server gift, and the server gift specifically is the hands of the body. So the server gift is a serving gift. It doesn't mean you don't talk. What it means is you are motivated to do things that encompass activity. You're motivated to do things where you work with your hands. You're motivated to do things where you're working in a situation that requires manual dexterity, which is a fancy way of saying working with your hands. All right. All right. So you're motivated to work with your hands or to work, not necessarily talk. Why this is so important is if you're working in a server capacity and you find that that's your top gift, for instance, and you're working in a service capacity, the worst thing you want to do is talk. We're going to understand why that's so vitally, critically important when we start talking about some of the servers that have gone down in history, and you'll see why they were great servers and why some of them were operating outside of the capacity that they should have been because they were talking when they should have been serving. All right. Now, if you find that you have all 3 of these gifts, say your top 3 gifts are all below this line, you now should be set free and realize why it is you don't want to lead, you don't want to direct, you don't want to stand in front of people. So stop feeling bad about that. I told you week 1 and week 2, society is set up to make us believe inherently that we should not be doing what God put us on earth to do. People will tell you, you need to stand up and be a leader. Well, not if I'm not a leader. That's what this class is about. Some people are not leaders. Everybody has leaders. See, leaders want to force everybody else to be leaders, but we got too many chiefs in the world. We need some people to follow those leaders, to take the activities that the leaders are giving out to make sure that the work is done. All right. So feel free to stop leading after this call, but come up with an exit strategy. I don't want you to go quit your job tomorrow. I want you to come up with a viable exit strategy where you can smoothly go to a position where you're an individual contributor, where you're not leading people because you hate to go to work every day because you're a compassion server and giver, but you're good at it. We're going to understand why you got promoted in a minute as well, too. So I got a lot to cover tonight. I'm going to jump right in to the actual gifts. We're talking about the server gift today. The server gift that we're going to kick off with is President Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of the United States of America. Why do I say this? Now, most of you might be thinking, what should come to your mind immediately is, wait a minute, he was a president. Why are you highlighting him as a server? Well, let me tell you why. He wasn't the greatest president. We love this man. Everybody loved. I haven't met anyone that didn't like Jimmy Carter. The only people talk trash about him was when he was president, and I think that's because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to talk trash about the president, and so they did. But everybody loves Jimmy Carter because he is a server. How do I know? He doesn't just give millions and millions and millions of dollars to Habitat for Humanity. Look right there. The man has on the shirt. He has on the hard hat. That means he is on site. One of the things we're going to learn about tonight is how important it is for the server to be there. You got to be there and show through your actions and through your activity who you are and who you care about. This man is out there with hammer and nails. He's 9,014 years old, and he's still out there doing construction. That, my friends, is a telltale sign of a server. So then what do we look at in terms of his presidency and his quote unquote leadership? I have to say this with all the love that I have for the man. I hope I get to meet him one day, but he was not the greatest president. In fact, if you look up his ratings, he had the lowest presidential rating since Harry Truman, 1945-ish, I think. Teachers don't quote me on that. I looked it up and thought I memorized it, but I'm 50-something and I'm old. So he had the lowest rating. I think it was around a 45 of any president since Harry Truman. Of course, Mr. 45 that's in office right now, Donnie Orange, is lower than that. So this man here was a server. So this guy is a server. This man is a server. So as a president, he was a server, which probably shows and illustrates why he was not the greatest leader of all time. All right. But now he's in purpose, which is why he continues to give his gift to humanity. All right. So let's talk about the characteristics of the server. Those of you who scored high, remember, two reminders. If you ask questions tonight, you have to ask them in the Zoom. If you're not in the Zoom, we're not going to see your questions until afterwards. So many of you are watching on Facebook. Some people have launched Facebook watch parties. You can ask your questions among your friends there. We got a couple of people out there that can answer some questions for you. If you have questions about who I am, who June is, what the book is, you can ask those general questions. Feel free to do so. We have some people out there. Shawanda Lofton can answer some of your questions, as well as Sequester McKinney, but they're monitoring that. June and I are here in the Zoom call, okay? So we want to be really, really clear on that, and we'll announce it again when we go into the Q&A. All right, so the characteristics of the perceiver. Here's the thing I want to bring to your attention that you recall. If you scored anywhere over a 70, you are going to walk in these characteristics oftentimes. It may not be your top gift, but if you're strong enough to walk in over 70 points, you are going to walk in some of these characteristics. The other way that you look at your score and you analyze the data based on your statistical score, or your numeric score, is if it's your highest score out of all 7, then you're a server. So if your highest score is a 42 and that happens to be a server, you, my friends, are a primary gift of server. If you scored high in everything, but it's over a 70, you are going to walk in the characteristic of a server, but you may or may not be a server. So let's talk about these characteristics that you're going to walk in. Number 1, easily recognizes practical needs and is quick to meet them. A server will not only see the practical need, the server will jump in to meet the need. So if someone's stacking chairs in an auditorium, the server will jump in. They don't even know who had the function. They're just going to jump in and they're going to be quick to meet that practical need, because that's what they do. Remember, this is the thing that motivates you. What motivates you is your gifting and the opportunity to operate in the characteristics of that gifting. So a server will be motivated to operate in a capacity where they're meeting a practical need and they reach out and they're helping someone. Number 2, they enjoy manual projects, jobs, and functions. Manual meaning hands-on, things you have to do right there. They're not big on technology unless they're building something with the technology, unless they're programming technology, unless they're working with the computer itself. But they don't like automated stuff. They like to do things that are manual because they love to work. Number 3, keeps everything in meticulous order. You know, some of you are making this a family adventure. I saw a couple of people post today. That's great. So are we. My children are taking it, and my wife is taking it over again. And my son asked me, he says, what does that mean? Everything in meticulous order does not necessarily mean that everything is neat to everyone's naked eye. What do I mean? Meticulous order doesn't mean it's neat all the time. Meticulous order means it's in the order that you placed it. My dad is a server. He's an exhorter server. My dad is a server. So I can go to my dad and be like, Dad, I can't find a sledgehammer. Oh, man, move those 3 bricks, move them 2 pallets, and then take those 5 bags of manure, move those out of the way, and then open that drawer. And then underneath the handkerchief in the drawer, you'll find a sledgehammer. That's my dad. Everything's in meticulous order, but there's all kinds of stuff in front of it now. To the naked eye, it's like, man, that's messy. It ain't messy. It's in the order that I placed it meticulously. That's how servers think, okay? That's what meticulous order means. You need to change the score, go ahead and change it. Is a detailed person with a good memory. Servers have a photographic memory. I think it's the elephant that has the memory. We used the elephant last week to describe the different mindsets of the gift, right? The different perspectives, but we're using it again. A detailed person with a good memory. Man, servers have photographic memories. I did until I was about 51, okay? And so now it's kind of going away, but I can really think of some of the things that I've learned. I know there's some notes on the line, but when I say that Kappa Alpha Psi was founded January 5th, 1911, chartered and incorporated originally the laws of state Kappa Alpha Nu under the name was changed of the resolution offered and adopted at the 4th Grand Chapter, December 1914. This change became effective on a proclamation by then Grand Pole Mark Elder Washington Diggs, affectionately known as the Dreamer. Thus, the name acquired a distinctive Greek letter symbol, and Kappa Alpha Psi thereby became a Greek letter fraternity in every sense of the designation. Sir, I learned that in 1988. Why? Because I'm over 70 as a server. It's not my primary. It's almost my tertiary, but I'm over a 70 in the server. I got a photographic memory. The only thing that'll stop it now is age, okay? All right, so it's a detailed person with a very good memory. So we remember everything we said. So when you arguing with us or you have an intense fellowship, as Sequester McKinney calls it, when we have an intense fellowship, don't say, that ain't what you said. Don't say that to a server because you're wrong. The server remembers exactly what I remember exactly what I said. That's not what you said. You said we going here. I didn't say we going here. I said we need to look at going here. In fact, when I said it, my hand was on my shoulder because you looked at me when I said it and you said, well, why's your head tilted? I said, my head ain't tilted. My hand is on my shoulder. My hand's on my hand right here. My face is in my hand. And I'm telling you that I was sitting like this when I said it because I remember you sat up. And when you sat up, I got mad because I thought you was sparked at me. And I said, we need to look at going, you see what I'm saying? So I'm going on and on and on because those of you who have had an argument with a server, leave them alone because they have a detailed memory and they remember exactly what they said. All right, that's for my married couples. Remember, you said you wanted to learn about your spouse's gift, your employees' gifts, your gifts, and your children's gifts. So I'm gonna intertwine those so make sure you're getting that. All right, number 5. Servers love to show hospitality. What does that mean? I love to entertain people. We love to entertain people coming over to the house. Now, a server looks very much like a giver, but it's different. The giver will have everybody over to the house and pay to have it catered. The server will have everybody to the house and cook for everybody and serve everybody. The reason I love this gift so much is because they are the ones that serve other people and make other people feel like $1,000,000. But here's what I want you to know. Some people will take advantage of that. I don't want you to get in a situation where people are taking advantage of it. Miss Laura hit us up this week and gave us some information that she posted where, hey, I believe I'm a server, but a lot of these characteristics I don't want to do because people have taken advantage of me all of the time. Listen, you be who God put you on earth to be, right? You'll get mature enough to where you realize when you're casting your pearls amongst the swine, but don't stop serving people because some clown took advantage of you. Don't stop doing that because you are now not being who you were put on earth to be. And if you're on earth and not being who you were put on earth to be, who God wants you to be, then you're fighting who you are right now. You're not being who you want to be. So you're in bondage. You're not free to be who you are, right? So answer these questions and make sure that you're answering these questions and operating in this gift the way that you desire to be. Remember, week 1, we talked about that. We said the desire to do it may not change even if you turtle. Remember, we talked about the turtling gifts, the perceiver and the compassion people. They'll turtle like, all right, I done offended you. I don't want to say nothing else to you now because now I'm mad. I don't have nothing else to say to you. Or I'm upset, or you hurt my feelings, so I don't want to say anything. So they go back into their shell. They still want to help people. They still want to talk to people. They still want to tell people how TI is if they're a perceiver, right? They still want to, but they'll turtle and not do it. If you're turtling, you're not being who God called you to be. So don't turtle your gift. Make sure that you continue to serve other people because that's who God put you on earth to be. Make sure you get around the people that respect it, though. After a while, you'll say, you know what? These people respect it. These two people don't. I'm kicking them to the curb, and I'm going to hang out with these three because they respect who I am. That's how you make that assessment and adjust your actions accordingly. So they enjoy showing hospitality to other people. Number 6, a server will stay with something until it is complete. Servers go over a lot. Servers that are teaching classes, they go over a lot because if they got 17 bullets, I don't care if the Holy Ghost took off on bullet number 3 and everybody was set free and laid out in the spirit. They don't care. They're going to go till they get to number 17 because I had 17 points I needed to finish, right? They're going to do that with any manual projects that they're working on. If they're building a bookshelf, they're going to stay with it until it is complete. And they're not going to stop until it's complete. So wives, we're talking about spouses again here. Want to help you out in your marriages. Spouses, don't tell your husband that the light on the back porch is out right before you go to dinner and you know you only got 5 extra minutes, right? So for the first time in your life, you're leaving 5 minutes early and you're like, oh, baby, I forgot to tell you that light is out in the back. He's going to fix that light because he ain't going to leave it incomplete. He's going to look at it and he's going to say, I can do that in 5 minutes. And now you just messed up because now y'all late to dinner and now it turns to an argument because you get to dinner late. They gave your table away and now you mad at him because you got there late and they gave your table away and you got to wait an hour and a half. How do I know this? How do I have this insight? Now you mad at him because you got to wait an hour and a half. You got there at 7:08. They gave it away at 7:05 because they had a 5-minute grace period. And now you got to wait till 9:30 to get another table and you mad at him. It ain't him. Is you. You shouldn't have told him that the light was out. You should have told him the day before or you should tell him the day after. So don't mess up your marriage by telling servers stuff that needs to be done when there's something else that you expect to be done because they're going to stop and they're going to look and they're going to believe they can do it right then and now. All right. Just word to the wise for my married folks. Number 7, servers have a hard time saying no to requests for help. So there is something inside of a server that doesn't want to be served. Remember, the motivation is not being served. I'm sparked to action and motivated to serve someone else. So because that is my motivation, when someone's serving me, I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I feel like I'm unworthy. I feel like I'm not the person that this person should be serving. I feel like I should be serving that person. They will one-up you every opportunity they get. You do something for them, they do something for you. You do something for them, they do something for you. You fix something for them, they fix something for you, right? My encouragement to the servers is receive your blessings and stop feeling like you got to go tit for tat to bless someone else. Sometimes you just sit back, relax, and be blessed for all the things that you're doing. So but you're going to have a hard time. That is a characteristic. You're going to have a hard time saying no to requests for help, but learn to say it and enjoy it. Okay. Very, very difficult for you to do, but I know that you can do it. I have confidence in all of you. All right. Number 8 is more interested in meeting the needs of others than their own needs. Be careful with this because you're more interested in helping other people than you are in helping yourself. Even growing up in school, you'll stick up for a bully, right? You'll stick up for someone that the bully is trying to bully, but you won't stick up for yourself. You'll do things for other households, but neglect the ones that's at your house, right? That is very, very challenging in marriages. I want to talk to my men for a minute. I want to talk to my women for a minute, especially the men. You want to help Susie the Floozy. You really just want to help her to fix her car, and you want to help her by giving her a ride home, and you think it's just innocent. That can lead to other things. Cut that out. What I always say is, there's a video that I remember, I think June was actually at that, and the Holy Spirit laid on my heart to give an example. And I'm going to try to get that example now. It's not on my notes, but I'm thinking about it. Sometimes servers will rationalize and say, you know what? I don't like this girl. I mean, she kind of cute. She be flirting, but I don't like her, but she does need help. And I kind of want to help her a little bit. And I said, if you're doing this before you go, don't go. Listen, if your wife can't go, don't go. If it's somewhere that you want to go to help somebody, but Susie the Floozy is there and you know she's been flirting with you, don't go. But your server gift is going to tell you, go. So here, what I'm saying about that is this. Never be led by your gift, ever. Wait a minute. That's an oxymoron. No, it's not. Never be led by your gift. Scripture tells us, and the Bible says what? Those who are sons and daughters of God, or those who are sons and daughters of God, should be led by the what? The Spirit of God. Somebody completed that sentence for me. Be led by the Spirit. Don't be led by your gift. So wait a minute now, you teaching me my gift. You telling me don't operate in it? Nope. I'm telling you don't be led by it. Be led by the Spirit. Okay? I'm a teacher. Man, I love teaching. I want to teach. I love teaching. But if I'm going down to a group full of satanic devil worshipers, I got to pray about that now. Oh, wait a minute now. What, right? If I go down somewhere to someone's demon possessed, right? I know people, I know salty Christian think, you just go down there and take the light. Nope. Hold up. I'm going to ask the light if the light's going before me, because you can't counsel demons. What I'm going to do? Give them a scripture. Here's what you need to read, right? As your neck spins around in a circle and you spit out green vomit. And I'm like, see, this is what you need to read. Matthew 15. No, you can't counsel demons. You got to cast them. Perceivers do that, right? Teachers, we ain't go down there and teach the demon. So what am I saying? You got to be led by the Spirit instead of just jumping out there saying, well, she needs help. I'm a server. Big S on my chest. I'm going to go out there and help, because that can get you in trouble when you start meeting other people's needs and you fix 3 sinks on the block, but the sink in your house is leaking and your water bill is $600 a month because you ain't fixed your 3 leaks, but everybody on the block is fixed, because your wife will see that. And your husband will see that, miss, if you're helping somebody. Well, I'm just helping them with their grant. Yeah, but that dude ain't married. He ain't married and he fine and he buff. And I'm masculine and I said he fine. So that means you might not be able, you don't trust me. I do trust you. I don't trust him. All right. I don't know why I'm staying on that one so long, because that one wasn't in the notes, but that's for somebody. Take it, run with it. Y'all love each other and help each other first before you help somebody else. And if you want to help somebody with a grant and he buff and sweet and fine and got curly hair like Christopher Williams, who played out, so I guess he dark skinned like Morris Chestnut now, and he bald headed and buff with nice juicy lips, then take your husband with you to help him out so both of y'all can help together. All right, I'm coming off of that, but that was for somebody. All right, number 9. Number 9, enjoy working on short-term goals rather than long-term, long-range goals. This is really for my administrators to understand. Servers, you do like working on long-term goals, short-term goals rather than long-range, because you love to feel a sense of accomplishment. Ooh, I won't go on a tangent. I'm going to talk about something real quick. They're called feel-good chemicals. There are 4 feel-good chemicals that really are released in the brain to make us feel good. I'm going to condense this by talking about one. One of those is called serotonin. Serotonin flows when you feel significant or important, right? And there's another one, I'm going to talk about 2. There's another one called dopamine. Dopamine flows in your body. They're feel-good chemicals. For those of you who work out, you run or you do push-ups, you do 30, you were like, man, I never did 30 before. You get up, you go, yes, woo, I finished. That feeling that you get, that's dopamine, because that dopamine is released when you accomplish a goal. You need to put short-range goals in front of your servers, administrators. Administrators like long-term. This is the 6-year plan, right? So my wife does that a lot. She's an administrator, y'all. I watched her today. She backed off a little bit, but I watched her today. Guys, since you guys are home now and you guys are home from school and you got COVID and summer school, what I want you to do is I want you to clean the floors, then I want you to clean the garage, then I want you to make your bed, then I want you to then I want you to clean the dishes, then I want you to sweep the floor, then I want you to vacuum, then I want you to dust, then I want you to get your shoes up from over here, then I want, you just, man, the server just went into brain explosion overload because you gave them too much. So those of you who are bosses, directors, and managers, parse it out. Give them one thing to do 15 times a day instead of 15 things to do one time a day. I'm gonna say that again. If you tell a server to do one thing and they feel that sense of accomplishment and that dopamine is flowing, they're like, yes, we did it. It only took 40 minutes. You're like, man, that was awesome. You picked up all your shoes. Hey, you think we can do the beds now? I think we can do the beds in a couple of minutes. I think we can. That server's gonna say, yes, let's do the beds now. Bed's gonna take 15 minutes. Man, we've done 2 things. You wanna do something else? Yes. The server's gonna get to the point, they say, let's do the floors. You're like, let's do the floors, right? Then they're gonna say, let's vacuum, right? Because they're feeling a sense of accomplishment for these short-term goals. Now I'm talking about in a homestead, this is for business, right? So in your business, if you have a long-term business strategy, you got to call your servers in, the worker bees, and say, all right, we're going to talk about phase 1. You ain't talking about phase 1 through 12. No, because they're going to feel overwhelmed. And oftentimes what they'll do when they feel overwhelmed is shut down. They're like, man, I can't do all of that. They're going to feel like I can't do all of that because I'm high speed, I'm high energy all the time. I'm going 150 miles an hour all the time. And because I'm going 150 miles all the time, I can't go 150 miles an hour for 12 phases. I just can't do that. Mentally, they're now defeated. So give them pieces of what you need them to do. Now, some of you guys realize why this one guy is such a great worker, but sometimes he doesn't do anything. It's your fault. You keep giving them too much to do at one time. They enjoy working on short-term goals rather than long-term goals. Okay, number 10. Shows love for others in deeds and actions more than words. A server will show you that they love you, but because remember, it's a non-speaking or a serving gift. Because it's a serving gift, I want you to understand that a server will show you they love you, but may not ever tell you because they're shy by nature. I don't care if it's a 46-year-old hunk of a man. He is shy by nature. He feels alien. He feels weird when he has to stand there and say, I love you. Right? So how does he tell you he loves you? He cooks, he cleans, he rubs your feet, he runs your bath water, he builds you a desk, he builds you an extra room, a sunroom for the house, he puts suntan lotion on your back. We had people come to us. A lady came to us and said, I want to get a divorce. My husband, I can't remember. I just started asking, why you never say you love me? And we're like, okay. So we look at the guy, we're like, man, what's going on? And he started naming all the stuff that he does. He's like, babe, I cook, I clean. You never have to cook. I clean, I wash the cars, I wax the cars, I detail your car once a month. I vacuum it out. I clean the room every day. I make the beds in the morning. So of course our natural answer was like, well, he's screaming, I love you right there. So don't get so into hearing someone say, I love you, that you don't see how much they love you. That's for my spouses. This is the spouses night, I guess. All right. But we're going to talk about business as well. So in business, the person, right, is going to show you that they're dedicated to the team by doing more than saying. And be very, very careful with that. My perceivers got that down. They will see the guy that's always kissing up to the boss. Yeah, that's a great idea you had there. Oh, I watched your forecast meeting. Those numbers were phenomenal. I think we're going to do, yeah. What have you done, Janet Jackson? What have you done lately? Look at that person that's doing the work. Look at that person that's staying late. Look at that person that's coming early. Look at that person that's not only talking to you, but the person that's really not saying much, but look at their numbers and their productivity and their efficiency. Look at the KPIs that they're responsible for, and that's how you make the judgment in business, because they're not going to talk and call attention to themselves. They're just going to go out and they're going to do a bang 'em up job on the work. That's who servers are. That's who you are. All right. I'm going to take a little breath for a minute, get you an opportunity to take a couple of more notes down from that. We're going to go to number 11. A server needs to feel appreciated, y'all. Remember those two chemicals that I wanted to talk about today. Dopamine is released in your body. It feels good. When I've accomplished something. So I need short range goals to do that. The second chemical that's released of the feel-good chemicals is what we call serotonin. Serotonin flows when someone feels significant or important. You know, when a server is motivated to do more and more and more and more, one thing at a time, 15 times a day to finish 15, you know when? When you say, man, you are doing a bang 'em up job. Man, you are doing great. Man, I don't understand how you do it. Man, you the greatest worker I have. Man, you are awesome. Man, I appreciate you. Here's a $5 gift certificate. $5, $5 for a server. $5 will go a long way. $25, they'll never leave you or forsake you, right? The point I'm making is when they feel appreciated, man, it kicks them into action. Can I get a witness from my servers? Because you feel good. And listen, here's what I want you to understand for those of you who are skeptical about this particular trait. It's not that they do things so that you can tell them they feel appreciated. That's not it. They don't do things so that they can hear you say it. They do things because they're motivated to do things, but the things they do, they want to be of the utmost excellence. They want it to be perfect. And the only way that I know that I did a good job of what you asked me and tasked me to do is if you tell me. And that's why you tell them, man, dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. Now, for children, I want you to understand this about children. For children, don't tell them what they did is awesome. Don't tell them what I got to do a parents class. Look, don't tell them what they did is awesome. In other words, if they do a painting, don't say, man, that's the greatest painting. Look at those colors. Look at the blues, the greens, the oranges, and the grays. Woo, that is a beautiful picture. No. What you do is you tell them how the work they did has resulted in something awesome. So you don't say, man, that's a beautiful picture. You say, man, now you worked hard on that picture. That picture right there, man, for you to sit there and figure out what colors it took to make that awesome, for you to sit there and figure out all of the brushes you needed to make those blend perfectly, for you to sit there and think about all the things you needed to do, and then go down to Hobby Lobby and buy all the stuff that you needed with your own money. Man, you have done a good job. That's how you build your children for success that are servers, because you're not rewarding them for the end result, because those are the ones that cheat. They'll go buy a painting and lie and they said they did it because you like the painting. No, you like and acknowledge the great thing that they have done in terms of the tasks that went into it. That's when a server feels appreciated. Man, that's some good stuff right there. That ain't in the notes right there. Woo, preach, preacher. All right, here we go. They need to feel appreciated, so tell them. That will go a long way, and they'll be the best people on your team. All right? They tend to do more than they're asked to do. Boy, I have this bad. I used to have it real bad at my church. My pastor would ask us to do, I used to do the little radio announcement until my boy PB started doing it. He's, super articulate guy. He looks like Morris Chestnut. And light-skinned guys play it out, so we're not needed anymore. But back in the day, what I had to do was do the radio announcement. Welcome to our service, right? I used to do that. Man, it used to take me 45 minutes to do a 3-minute, 30-second thing. 30 seconds, because you only get 30 seconds before he starts preaching, right? Welcome, and we, man. Let me give you another example, because I just thought of something when I thought about that. Remember back in the day when you had to make the bomb answer machine message? Hey, what's up, girl? This Ricky. Hey, wait a minute. Start it over again. Hey, what's up, girl? This Ricky. No, I ain't like the way I said that. You rewind it again. Hey, what's up, girl? Oh, wait a minute, though. It might be one of my boys or something. Let me rewind it. Hey, what's up, y'all? Oh, no, that sound country. Man, you do that 500 times. Was it just me? Maybe it was just me. Man, I would do that 500 times. But boy, we had some tight messages. But we had to do it 500 times before it was the right one. Why? Because it had to sound right. Right? Because if you asked me to make the answer machine message for the house, I was going to do it, but I'm going to do it 50,000 times until it comes out perfectly, because you tend to be perfectionists, which is one of these that's coming up. But you tend to do more than you're asked to do. All the person asked you to do was to do an answer machine. Hey, man, we forgot to turn on the answer machine. Do the answer machine for us. Okay, that's all they asked you to do. You could have just said, hey, this is all of us. We're not here. Leave a message. We'll call you back. You could have done that, but no, you're going to do more than you're asked to do. So why is that important for business? In a business setting, administrators, givers, bosses, managers, leaders, directors, make sure that you're succinct in telling the person what you need done, and give them a little extra time. You have to build contingency time into the time that a server is going to do what they need to do, because a server is not just going to do one thing. They're going to do 5 things. My vice president asked me for some numbers last week. Well, what was their return rate last year? I was like, okay, so I got the return rate, and then I got the return rate for 2018, and then I did a cost analysis based on the return rate from 2018 and 2019. Then I did a burn rate, which is the projected rate for 2020. Then I divided it by the number of months, and I was like, okay, based on this is where they're going to end. So I did a run rate based on 2020. I looked up the number that he asked me for 2019. I looked up the number he asked me for 2018. And then I did a cost analysis and a comparison between the three to see what the percentage of growth or the impact on our revenue would be. He didn't ask me all that. And my director would tell you, man, quit trying to be so perfect, because that took 45 minutes for me to do. And I should have did, he probably needed it for a meeting that he was on a call at that time, right? So you got to be careful. So do as I say, not as I do, because I do that all the time. We do more than we are asked to do. So you got to build contingency plans in there for people that you have working with you that are servers. Now, my servers, I need you to get more succinct, okay? Very, very important. Get more succinct. Okay, number 13. Feels the greatest joy in doing something that is helpful. Now, I feel that my greatest joy is teaching you to do something, right? But remember, that's only one perspective of the whole. The perceiver believes that telling you the truth, like a TI is, so that you can change your ways, is their greatest joy. A giver believes that giving you something to get you started is their greatest joy. The server believes that doing something to help someone else is their greatest joy. All of those are imperative, but we need 7 people around at all time. 7 gifts around at all time to make sure that everybody is fulfilled. Make sense? The greatest joy is in doing something that is helpful. Number 14, leaders don't want to lead, y'all. Remember, we talked about that at the onset of the class tonight. Leaders don't want to lead. So domineering wives, please stop screaming on your husband, telling them to be a man. Be a man. Stand up. Pray. You're the only man that doesn't pray. Well, he's the only man that's a servant. Leave him alone. He don't want to pray. I see that all the time at family reunions and stuff. They'll look around. We want to have one of the patriarchs pray. One of the men. One of the strong brown men pray. And they looking around. And then you got some strong perceiver administrator lady, Spicy, you hear me? Right? You hear some strong perceiver administrator lady, she grab her husband by the arm. Get up, be a man, why don't you pray? And he like, I am a man. I cooked this morning, I cleaned this morning, right? I washed your drawers, I washed my drawers, and I washed both cars before we even left to go here. And I drove here 4 hours to the family reunion. I am a man. And he ain't gonna say that, but that's what he's thinking. And he's going to get up and reluctantly pray. And it's going to be the worst pray. And then everybody will get food poisoning because he prayed and he didn't want to pray. I know that's bad. But I'm just telling you what you're doing when you're forcing servers to lead. They don't want to lead. Stop pushing them to lead. Stop pushing your children to be leaders. They don't want to be leaders. Help them to be the best vice president they can be. Because a vice president will take leadership's directive and they will make sure that they cast that vision downward. They make great vice presidents because they need someone to tell them what to do so that they can lead by example, but they don't want to be the top person in charge. They don't want to be the H server in charge, HSIC. They don't want to be that. So stop pushing them to do it. But why is it so uncomfortable to everyone on the call except for me and a couple of people that are seasoned in understanding the gifts? Because society teaches us, if you ain't a leader, you're a loser. And that's not true. But then they tell you through your salary, if you ain't a leader, you ain't gonna make as much money. That's true, and that sucks. But I need for all of my servers on the call to go out there and blow up the status quo. I got a boy, we'll say his initial is J. And some of the brothers on the call know who I'm talking about. He's a surgical assistant to the surgeon. He don't even have a medical degree. The guy just says scalpel, and he knows what the scalpel is that the guy needs, so he hands him scalpel. Forceps, doctor. All right, clamp artery. I'll clamp that artery for. He don't even have a medical degree. And I looked up at one point, this boy had a Kumatichi, a Komavochi, and a Racharucci. Those are all the cars I can't say. He had them 3 and a Lamborghini and a Countach and a something else, and he just bought a house. I'm like, Jesus, that boy pockets was deeper than the river. When he write a check, the bank bounce. So don't tell me servers can't make money. Servers can go out there and find that thing that the server needs to be doing to make big bank. Because if you do what God put you on earth to do, you can make a lot of money. He gonna take care of you, all right? So servers, blow up status quo, go out there and serve somebody like they ain't never been served before so you can be a blessing to them, all right? But they don't wanna lead projects. I don't wanna lead, I just want you, what do you need me to do? Scalpel. Forceps, sutures, sir, all right? That'd be $11,000 for me standing here with you for 4 hours to sew this man's brains back together. Man, that's awesome. Get paid, servers, get paid, and don't believe that you gotta take a lesser job. And if you're gonna be a custodian and hire an administrator to get you 17 contracts and put 15 people out there on those 17 contracts, and you can make $3 million a year like the man that June introduced us to, who was making $3 million a year as a janitor. As a custodian, he was making $3 million a year. How many of y'all making $3 million a year telling people what to do? I rest my case. All right, number 15, has a high energy level. That might be me, that might be you. What it means is they will finish what they started, go and do something else. go and do something else, but you got to parse it out to them. They'll do those 15 things, give them one thing to do 15 times. They will finish those and look up and say, man, I haven't been sleeping 24 hours. All right, I'm gonna go sleep for 30 minutes and get back up and do it again. So cut us some slack. For those of you who believe that we're doing too much, we are, but cut us a little bit of slack because it's not as bad as you think. It's bad, but it's not as bad as you think because we have a high energy level. God supernaturally empowered us to do a lot of things. All right, we have a high energy level. Number 16, cannot stand to be around clutter. Now remember, we talked about meticulous order. Meticulous order is the way you want it, right? But they don't like clutter, where stuff is just stacked on top of each other with no order. They don't like that. Servers do not like clutter. That's why, in order for you to realize that you are a server, for you to realize that your children are servers, if they get up and clean their own room, they're probably servers. How many kids you know do that? 12 out of 100. That's why y'all 12% of society, I think it is, 12 or 16, right? But they cannot stand to be around clutter. So keep that in mind. So if you want to frustrate a server, have them come to your messy office and tell them what to do. They can't get past the clutter on your desk, and they're going to have a premonition of you. Remember, that will kick in like, man, I ain't doing all that. You messy as hell. Look at all the stuff on your desk. And you want me to do all this for you? Why don't you do something? You obviously don't do nothing. And that a messy desk doesn't mean you're not productive. It just looks like you're not productive because you didn't clean up. So the server believes you're not productive because you ain't clean and you ain't tidy. They hate to be around clutter. All right. Number 17, we hit already, tends to be a perfectionist. I want to remind all of my servers on the call tonight, God has not called you to be perfect. No one is perfect. Jesus Christ was the only one to walk the earth that never made any mistakes. He was perfect, up to and including Judas. He was supposed to do that, which means he's still batting 1,000. He's the only one. Take a note of this. Write this on your participants guide. I hope you got it and printed it. If you didn't, put it on a sticky note and don't lose it. God called you to be excellent. Excellent. Excellent, man. Excellent may not be 100% perfect, but excellent is excellent to where people can go, ooh, ah, and it works for the task of which you were given, right? So don't spend 6 hours on something that should take 40 minutes like I've done in the past. What's up, y'all? This is Ricky. What's up, y'all? Oh, wait a minute. Those type of things. Don't do it till it's perfect. Do it until it's excellent. And you get a feeling because when you finish it, you'll feel better about yourself simply because you finished. Let's do these last three. All right. Number 18, view serving to be the top priority in life. That's your top priority because that's your motivational gift. Remember, that's what we're talking about. What is a motivational gift? It is the inherent trait that you have that determines your level of interest, your intensity of your focus, and the quality of your work. That's what it is. So servers are like, man, I got to serve. So if I got an opportunity as a server, if I'm a server gift, I got an opportunity to teach a class, right? Or to go down and march somewhere, right? Or to build a bookshelf, what am I going to do? Man, let me get this bookshelf done because that's of primary importance, man. If I don't have the books, I can't read about the struggle, so I won't be effective when I go out there and I walk in the street. So I ain't going out there to the protest. I'm going to stay here and work on this bookshelf. That's their top priority in life. Number 19, a server prefers to do a job rather than delegating it. They don't want to tell other people what to do. They want to do the job themselves. Remember, we talked about it. They don't want to lead, direct, and delegate. That's what administrators do. Servers want to jump in there and do it on their own. And then number 20, they support others who are in leadership. Man, if you're an administrator on this call, you better take this assessment, and the next 5 people you interview for the secretary position, you better hire a server. A lot of people believe that the administrator in the office, I know that's the fancy word, secretary is an old word, now they call it the administrator. So what the misconception people have is that they should hire an administrator gift as an administrator in the office. Wrong. You should hire a server as your secretary / administrator. Why? Because that administrator, your office administrator, is the person that you send out on coffee runs. That's the person you send out for gopher runs, right? That's the person you want to go downstairs and stack all of the donuts on the cart and push it upstairs. Administrators don't like doing that. First of all, administrators don't like doing what you tell them to do. They want to tell somebody to do that. You need to hire a server for that. Administrators don't like administrative work. as it pertains to manual work like filing papers, alphabetizing things. Does that still exist in the days of technology? Otis is laughing at me right now. But yeah, some people still have file cabinets. And for the 8 of you out of 150 that do, and you need to alphabetize some of these records, like at the dentist's office, right? You need to hire a server for that. So hire a server to do your administrative hands-on work, not an administrator, even though the title is administrator, the function is servant. Got it? All right. So now let's go into the problem areas. This is good stuff right here. Y'all know Martha looked more like that than the Martha we've seen in other times. All right. The Middle Eastern. All right. But here we go. Here's the problems of the server. How can a server have problem areas? Well, let's talk about it. Martha was one of those, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute. But what they do is they're critical of others who do not help out with obvious needs. That's bad. Don't be critical of people who are not helping out with obvious needs because it's not obvious to them because they're not servers, right? A teacher may look and logically say, well, it's 200 chairs, it's 8 people, 25 chairs per person. We can get this done in 30 minutes, right? So a teacher can figure that out. But a teacher will look and say, man, we need 8 people. A teacher ain't gonna go over there and do it. They're gonna tell you how you figure it out, right? A perceiver is gonna look and say, I ain't helping with that, that ain't my job. The administrator is gonna say, we need some more people in here to help. The servers are gonna jump right in and start doing it. What I don't want you to do is become critical of people that are not helping out with needs that you see as obvious, because they see the need, but they don't understand what needs to be done to fix the need. You have a switch inside of you that tells you what needs to be done to fix it. So don't get critical. What you do is you do it and you recruit other servers to help you to get it done. Don't become critical, because now that's impacting the synergy on the team. Because now you mad and you salty and you come to the office every day mad because you're the only one filing papers. Now you mad. No, they ain't servers. Tell your boss, hey, I really could use some help. Could you hire a service, a temp service that has a server who can come in and help me get this done until I can get this done? I can get it done by the end of the week if you get me some help, or if someone will help me who's intelligent enough to get this done. All right. Number 2, may neglect their own family's needs by being too busy helping other people. We talked about that already, so I won't delve into that again, but don't neglect your own family needs helping other people. Now, here's for those of you who are married to spouses, you better appreciate them, because guess what? She gonna be helping Dexter now, because Dexter appreciates her. You ever wonder why a guy messing around on his wife end up messing around with a lady that's just super, super unattractive to you and everybody else, including him? And he look at you and say, I don't know why I like that girl. I don't know. You know what? She got one tooth and it's in a jar, but I still like her. And she's still cute to me. I don't know what it is. You know what it is? You release serotonin when she said, you so cute, you so nice, you always help me. Thank you for fixing my car. Thank you for fixing my tires. I really appreciate you picking my boy up from school. Thank you. And you doing all of this stuff for her, but you do all of that for your own family, and no one ever says thank you. And you married to a strong perceiver wife who knows, and she's right. She's right in what she's thinking. She's not right in what she's saying and what she's doing. But what she's thinking is, that's your responsibility as a father. I ain't gonna thank you for picking our son up from school. That's what you're supposed to do. That's true, but you don't need to say that. You need to say, baby, thank you for always picking up the boy. I appreciate it. Because I ain't picked him up since he didn't have hair on his face. Now he got 2 beards and I didn't even recognize it. So I'm sure you saw it because you're the only one that's ever picked him up since he was a baby. I appreciate that, baby. And then, break him off a little noogie if y'all married, do the thing, right? Right? So that's what I'm saying. So that's what happens is when the server feels appreciated, they're more inclined to neglect their own family needs by being too busy helping other people because other people appreciate it, all right? So this is a 2-way street. Number 3, may become pushy and interfering in eagerness to help. Remember we talked about the Boy Scout who wanted to help? Some of you are new. I think we got about 300 people in the group now. First week, it was about 100 or 80. So here's what we talked about the first week. There's a Boy Scout that wanted to help a lady cross the street. She didn't want his help, right? And he kept saying, well, I want to help you. She kept saying, I don't need your help, Shiny. And he kept saying, man, my job is the Boy Scouts to help you. She said, I don't need your help, Shiny. And they started tussling and both of them fell in the street, got run over by a car. So the moral to that parable is what? Don't push your help on people. In the book, you read about the lady who went over Katie's house, the author of the book, Katie and Don's house. And she said she would get bored and she always wanted to help out. So when she would help out, they would still find there to this day, well, not to this day, but to the date, to time that many weeks afterwards, they were finding dishes in areas where they shouldn't be. Remember, we used that example week 1. Your mother-in-law comes over, she just got to help. So now you're like, man, who put the Tupperware with the spices? Why would you put the Tupperware with the spices? Ain't no other bowl in here. You put 5 Tupperware bowls up here with the spices. Can't you see that those are the spices? Nope. The teacher logically can see that. The server just want it put away so it looks neat. Remember, they don't like clutter. All right. All right. So setting somebody free. Number 4, finds it hard to accept being served by other people. We talked about that as well too. No need to deep dive back into that, to delve back into it. But these are problems. Don't allow yourself to shun off being served by someone else. Here's the main reason, then we're going to go to the next one. That other person that's a server needs to feel like they're serving too. Please don't rob them of that opportunity. If you rob them of their opportunity to serve by not allowing them to serve you, then now you are infusing negativity out into the atmosphere, and that's on you. So now you got someone that ain't going to receive a blessing, you, and someone that ain't going to receive the blessing of giving, them. You just negated what God wants to happen in that moment. Don't allow that to happen. So server tonight, let someone run your bath water. Let someone cook you a meal. Let someone serve you a plate. Let someone rub your feet. Let someone do something for you this week and just see how it feels. It's still not going to feel right. It's still not going to feel good because you're going to want to do something else, but just receive the blessing that God has for you, because God really gets kind of upset when he's like, man, she ain't taking what I'm blessing her with, right? So don't do that to the Lord. All right. And then number 5 is easily hurt when unappreciated. So make sure that you appreciate your servers, because if they feel like they're hurt, they're going to be just like Miss Laura, who hit us up this week, is like, man, I'm done serving. I don't think I want to, because no one's appreciating it. All right. Don't neglect being a blessing to other people by serving them because someone's not respecting your gifting. All right. So those are the problem areas of the server. I want you to begin to pray for maturity. That's what you do. Pray for maturity. Don't just go out there and try to change yourself. Pray for maturity, whether you're a believer or not. Just say, hey, man, I'm praying for maturity, and I want to be mature in these gifts, and I don't want to become pushy in helping people. I don't want to force my help on other people, because, again, it messes up the synergy in your groups, because you're trying to help people that don't want to be helped, right? Even if they need help, don't help them, because a know-it-all teacher is going to think he doesn't need help. Let him fail so that he comes back to you and asks for your help. Then you can flow freely in helping that person. All right, so let's talk about the problem of the server as it pertains to Martha. This is a scripture. It says, now as they went on their way, he entered a certain village where a woman named Martha, he is Jesus, right? So Jesus came into a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks. Sound like a server to me, an out of balance server, neglecting her own family needs, right? Work, getting too busy and involved, not doing what else needed to be done. So she came to ask him, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me. But the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha. See, when Jesus say your name twice, you're in trouble. Martha, Martha. You are worried and distracted about many things. There is need of only one thing. Martha has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her. So what I wanted to show you was how the problem of the server is in action. Martha was a server, but she was out of balance. Can you imagine if Jesus came to your house and you over there stacking Jet magazines? Come on now. You over there trying to find Tupperware in the cupboard that your mother-in-law put away. You're like, man, I gotta fix this. He might want something to eat. I gotta make sure I can find a. No, when Jesus show up, shut up. Just, oh, well, you here now, Lord, because you saw the Playboy magazine over there anyway. I'm stuck. So would you forgive me and just go to his feet? So the moral to the story is what? Don't get so caught up in the activity that you forget what you should be doing at the moment. He said, Martha, you're worried and distracted by many things. There's only need of one thing at this moment. Martha has chosen the better part, which is what? To sit and be quiet, rest, and listen to what I have to say. So there, I want you to be really, really balanced and not out of balance as Martha was. Now, the server wall of fame. The first person is the prophet Moses. You might be thinking, wait a minute, server, he was an administrator. Nope, I'm going to say this very simply. Moses was not a great leader. He wasn't a great leader. He was not. He was God's chosen man to lead. But let me tell you why I believe he wasn't a great leader. And I know I'm gonna have to answer to it because I say this a lot. When I get to heaven, Moses is gonna be like, "Oh man, why you dogging me out?" No, he gonna say, "Yo, man, why you dogging me out?" Because maybe he had a speech impediment. All right, and then I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna say, "This is why, Mo. Look in in this chapter. It's in Exodus 18, verse 13. Exodus 18, verse 13. It says, the next day, Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people. Now, wait, before I go any further, he was a prophet. He was a prophet. He was a server. What was he doing when God called him? He was tending the sheep, server. Working in the field, server. Taking care of the sheep, server. Blue collar work, server. And then he sees this bush on fire, right? And he says, man, the bush is on fire. Man, let me see what's popping. So he walks over to the bush, right? So now you have a server that God asked to lead the people. God knew what he was doing, but he also knew he was asking a server. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So here you are, you have a server that God comes on and says, I want you to go to Pharaoh and I want you to tell him, let my people go, okay? So now you see in chapter 18, after they leave Egypt and they go through the Red Sea and they do all of these miracles and things, Moses in chapter 18, the next day Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people and they stood around him from morning to evening all day long. When his father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he said, what is this you're doing for the people? Why do you sit alone as judge? You judging all these people now. Just so you understand the types of numbers, just men. They didn't count women in the census back then. They counted women. There was 602,550 men following Moses in the desert. 602,550 men following him. So you can imagine how many court cases was coming up because they was black. So, you know, people spitting on each other, getting mad, stealing people cattle, well, setting Wendy's on fire, man. It was just crazy. So he's got to try all of these cases. I hope I'm not sounding insensitive trying to be funny. But he's trying to try all these cases. His father-in-law comes to him because he's neglecting his wife now, Zipporah, I think was her name. He's neglecting his family, doing all of this work for everybody else, right? So he says, what is this you are doing with the people? Why do you sit alone as judge while all these people stand around you from morning till evening? And what Jethro said with his awesome administrator gift was you need to select men that are capable of leading groups of 1,000, hundreds, 50s, and 10s. Remember first week we talked about the way that the government is set up. Many things are set up from the Bible and many of the personalities just are set up from the Bible. The United States government is set up from this scripture because you have people that are over thousands, that's your Senate. And then you got people that's over your hundreds, that's your Congress. And you have people that's over your 50, that's your governors. And you have people that's over your 10s, that's your mayors. All of that is extracted from scripture, man. That's why I want y'all to start reading the Bible. It's awesome. Everything we do was based on a lot of things that was out there. So what he did was he taught him how to structure it so that it was sensible. And he said, you just try the harder cases. And that's what we do. We call it what? The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court doesn't try traffic cases. People running the light, people forgetting to put on their blinker. A smaller court does that. All of that came from this scripture. So why am I putting Moses up here? Because Moses was a great servant. He was a servant leader in that he led the people through the wilderness. One of the things you'll learn for those of you who are going or have been through law school is habeas corpus. That means you have to show up in body. Servers believe I got to be there to help out with this thing. Moses was great at that. But why do I say he wasn't a great leader? Two reasons. Number one, he never made it to the promised land. And secondarily, and most important, it took them 40 years to get where they never got because he never made it. But it took them 40 years. Do you know that the trip from Goshen, where they started, to the promised land, Canaan, was an 11-day walk? It should have taken 11 days for them to get there. It took them 39 years to not even get there, 40 years to get there, and he didn't even get there. That ain't the type of leader that you want to be. So the lesson we learn is God will choose who he wants, but when he chooses you, he will give you the wherewithal to do what you're supposed to do, but you got to be led by the Spirit, not by your gift. He was being led by his servant gift. I need to serve and sit with these people all day, all night, all morning, all evening. That's what I need to do. No, God anointed him to be a leader for the moment and said, I'm going to give you Aaron as your mouthpiece because he said, I can't lead the people because he talked like Shannon Sharp. I can't lead the people. No way I can lead the people. I'm slow of speech. I can't talk. He said, I'm going to let Aaron speak for you then. You take Aaron with you. He will be your mouthpiece. So God said, you take Aaron. He'll speak for you. You won't even have to do all of that. I just need you to lead by example. You just hold up your rod one day, hold up your staff the other day, but make sure you got one of those up so that people can follow you all through the sea, because I need a body there so that the people can see what they're supposed to be doing from someone who's doing it. Kudos to Brother Moses. All right. Now, the rest of the people that are here, Marvin Ellison. Marvin Ellison is the CEO of Lowe's. Who knew? Some of you are like, what? Yes. All y'all that go to Home Depot, this man is the leader of Lowe's. You may want to start supporting them, but it is well-known fact that Marvin Ellison will show up in that red vest on the floor to work because he, I believe, is a servant. Now, these are guesses because I don't know these people personally. Nelson Mandela, the quotes that I found on Nelson, almost every quote said, you have to lead from behind. Administrators wouldn't say that. Administrators, nah, I need to lead and make sure I got the right people on my team. A server leader or a servant leader will say, you got to lead from behind. You got to put the right people out in front. They can do that. Nelson Mandela. Dr. Martin Luther the King, or Dr. Martin Luther King, depending on how your language and diction is. We call him Martin Luther the King when we was little. So I'm going to keep calling him that. But Dr. King was a great leader, but he was a servant leader, which means you can lead as a servant, but they're servant leaders. He wasn't an administrator, right? To my knowledge. Great teacher, but a server. How do I know? Because he felt like he always had to be there, as did Harriet Tubman, Miss Moses. Harriet Tubman had to be there. If Harriet Tubman was an administrator, my guess is she would have anointed and trained 10 people so that she would have rescued and freed 10 times the people that she actually rescued. And they would have been leading people. She was, I'm sending you to the camp over there. I'm sending you down there to Vicksburg. I'm sending you down there to Savannah. I'm sending you down there to Macon. And I'm sending, because I've taught y'all and trained y'all to do what I do. I've duplicated myself. Now, instead of me rescuing 10 people, all 10 of y'all gonna rescue 10. We's rescuing 100. I'll meet y'all here in Canada next week. That's what an administrator would do. A server's like, nope, gotta be there, I'm going. That's her. The last two I wanna talk about is Jonathan and Drew Scott. I hope I get this right, because I didn't study it today, and when I study, it might be cold storage. The reason I wanted to mention these guys, because I don't watch TV. I don't watch a lot of TV. Every now and then I might sit with the kids and watch a movie, but I don't watch a lot of television. Jonathan and Drew Scott, these are the property brothers. So they flip houses and do all of that. I put them on because they epitomize what I'm trying to teach you in the course of the Purpose Finders Academy and through these courses. I want you to take the right people in your business, put them in the right places in your business, and prosper in your business. I want you to go to the right task in your business, fulfill that task that's aligned with your motivational gift in your business so that you're happy all day, every day, and you hate 5 o'clock on Friday when it's time to go home because you don't want to leave purpose. These guys have done it. How do I know it? Because Jonathan, y'all, went and got his degree. They were entrepreneurs all of their lives. Their father raised them in it when they were 5 years old. So they sold their first property at 18 and flipped the house for $50,000. They got $50,000 profit, right? A star was born. All right. So what? 2 stars were born, but they're twin brothers, right? Which is awesome because they have different gifting. Remember, I showed you the twins in the Purpose Finders Academy a couple of weeks ago, right? And how they had similar things in their lives. And I told you how it starts in the womb. Because you're an identical twin does not mean that you will have the same exact gifts. They have different gifts, but they got the right people in the right place, and they took the right positions in their company to do the right things, and now they're multi-millionaires because of it. Jonathan realized he had a knack for contract work. He went and got a degree in contract and design. That's Jonathan. And then the other one, Drew, went and got his certification and his credentials in real estate. So now you got one that's good at building things. You got another one that's good at buying things. He buys, he fixes. He buys, he fixes. And the rest is going to be a history that will feed their children's 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 children. That, my friends, is what I want you to do. So take your server gift, do something great with it, Become a server, but if you are a business owner, put an administrative lead over your business and don't have so much pride that you don't want to let someone else lead who is a natural born leader, or a giver who is a natural born leader, and pay that person because you're thinking, I can't afford it. You can't afford not to put that person in place, because if you're making 6 figures now in your business and you pay that person 5 figures, when you pay that person 5 figures, they have the wherewithal to take you to 7 figures. And then you can pay them 6 and you can make 6 and you can keep the rest in the business and put it back in the business, right? That's my time for that, ladies and gentlemen. What they do, the final piece of the puzzle, servers make great mechanical engineers, postmen, accountants, auditors. All of these are repetitive positions. They can do the same thing over and over and over and over again because they're motivated to work with their hands. Electricians, welders, barbers. Don't be afraid to allow your son to become a dirty fingernail mechanic. He might only come out making 50,000 as opposed to becoming a doctor, but that's okay because he'll be a great mechanic and he'll be happy. He'll live longer, which means he'll make more, instead of making him a miserable doctor where he has a heart attack himself because he's stressed out because he hates that work. If he wants to work with his hands, let him work with his hands. There's an example in the book that talked about that. They can do virtually any trade or task. I remember a young man snapped at me because we were sponsoring a workshop. It was a summer camp for young entrepreneurs and young investors. And I made the statement, if I find that your son or your daughter is a server gift, I'm not going to encourage them to go to college. Man, this dude got mad and snapped at me. Oh, I got a problem with you tell him I don't ain't nobody gonna tell my daughter not to go to college. Foot all in the mouth. And I ain't gonna say his gift, but foot all in the mouth. And by the time I finished, I said, well, you obviously I do have a problem with that. Ain't nobody gonna tell my daughter, I've been training her all her life to go to college. Okay. Robert Kiyosaki will put you straight on that first and foremost. He'll tell you how overvalued it is. But my statement was this. If your daughter from this young entrepreneur's summer camp comes up with $1 million idea and she's making $3 million a year with that idea, it could be decorating bottle caps. If she's making $3 million a year by the time she turns 18, are you really going to force her to go to college? Are you really going to, well, I still wanted to go to college. That tells me that you got so much pride for what you want to do that you don't give a doggone about the kid. You don't give a doggone about the child. Now, if you want her to go so that she can learn business to take her $3 million business to 12 million because she learned business, then do that. But what I would say, if she's a server that likes to work with her hands, I would encourage her to go to Georgia Tech. Oh, the whole room got silent. I said, I would encourage her to go to Georgia Tech. The first 2 years, if you can't afford it, I would encourage her to go to Gwinnett Tech. That's a technical college here around the corner from my house in Gwinnett County, right? I would encourage her to go there so that she can work with ambidexterity. She can work manually. And then if she wants to transfer to Georgia Tech, which is a technical institute, it's not a college, duh. So anyway, I shut them down, and only my teachers are feeling satisfaction from that. But I felt so satisfied when I set them back in this place. What I'm saying to you is they can work virtually any trade or task which requires dexterity, and they'll be good at it. But don't force them to be a doctor if they're supposed to be a surgeon. Don't force them to be a pediatrician, right? If they're supposed to be a surgeon or a medical assistant. That's what I'm saying. They want to work with their hands. And then the last thing here, they're your worker bees. So in your business, put your groundwork people, your worker bee people, put all of these people in the right place. They're your doers. They love repetitive tasks. They're the ones that don't mind being subservient, but don't clown them for being subservient. Servers will look at somebody and say, whatever you like. Oh, I can't believe you let that man talk to you like that. Whatever you like. Man, you let that woman walk all over you. No, that's who they are. Let them go, whatever you like. Let the brother say that to his woman and stop calling him henpecked. He's a server. He's not henpecked unless he is. But in most cases, he's a server, all right? So give them those type of responsibilities and give them opportunities to face your customers and help them, because customer-facing assistants, they will nurture your customers with kid gloves like no other gift can do, and your customers will come back time and time and time again to make sure that they're doing business with you simply because they were in the hands of a server. So those are the ideologies and the tasks that they do quite well. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the teacher gift. So make sure you cover chapters 13 through 15. All right. And also make sure that you finish the assessments. Finish the assessment so that you know what your score is. We're going to talk about the teacher next week, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I went a little bit over tonight. I think that intro that Otis gave me threw me off because I commented on it, and that took us a little bit further. But I just thought that it was awesome that he took us there on the website and gave us some additional insight. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause now for Q&A. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to pass it back to you, June Collier. Thank you for your time tonight.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I told you guys you were going to love this class. I told you were going to love our speaker. Man, I had some moments that I was just on the floor rolling. I was rolling about the girl that you said he didn't fell in love with a girl. She don't look that great. She got one tooth and it's in a jar. My brother. All right. So we having a lot of fun, guys. I know that there's some questions that are out there. Again, if you are on Facebook, unfortunately, we can't see your questions on Facebook. So all of the people that are on Facebook, we will look at your questions after the broadcast is over with. And if we can answer those, we'll do that at that time. If you want to be able to participate and ask questions, you have to register sundaynightcall.com. That'll give you access to the Zoom room. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything to register, but you do have to register. All right. So let's go to our questions, our Q&A. If you raise your hand, and I will see your hand, and we will bring you on to the screen. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. I don't see any. Let's see here. All right. Please raise your hand if you got a question, or there is a Q&A button down at the bottom. Here's a question that comes in from Portia. She says, is there a blank assessment outside the book that I can use to retest myself? Great question.
A blank assessment?
Yeah.
You can actually use the one in the back of the book. There's one in the back of the book for children. You can use that for your score. Or just just read them and score it on paper. You can just do that. Read it and score it on paper.
All right.
Or you can I'm slow to say it because I've been trying to get in touch with the foundation to get some blank ones. And I may or may not have a few blank ones around, but email me at lyndon.early@purposefinders.com, and I'll see if I can find one that way and send you somewhere where you can get one. Discoveryourgifts.org. That's what I want to say. Go to discoveryourgifts.org. If you go to discoveryourgifts.org, you should be able to order more questionnaires there. If you run into any trouble, send me an email, and I'll make sure that we get you connected to the right folks. But I'm trying to reach out to them in the death of Katie Fortune to get that information to see what the direction of the company is going to be now. She was the last living owner.
All right. Good stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can raise your hand, or if you have a question, you can go ahead and ask your question. There should be a question button there that you can click on. While we're waiting on that, one of the things that I found pretty interesting, Mr. Early, is there was a gentleman that I told you about. He's a fraternity brother of ours. He's in our business. And one of the things that he has done is he's very good at serving the information. I don't see him actually, doing a whole lot of presentations per se in front of the room, but he serves the information. And the thing that amazed me was the fact that oftentimes we have had calls, and there's different dial-in numbers for different things. And so if he met a female and she was a single mom, he would be like, oh, call this number and use this extension. Or if it was, a truck driver, oh, call this number and this extension. Or maybe it was a pastor, he would tell them to call that number, and he would connect them because he had memorized all of the different calls. And so, and he's in the top of our compensation plan. He's hit the top level. And I thought that was pretty interesting that while he does from time to time, but he doesn't do a lot of speaking, but he does one-on-ones, and he's very awesome with passing information along.
Yes. And that passing information is the dexterity. That's the hands-on, right? So he's like Harriet Tubman. He's leading them to where they should go. right? That is awesome. I love to hear that. And I hope that someone is taking note of that who realizes that that they don't have gifts that are in the speaking category. Because if you don't have a gift that's in the speaking category, then find what you can do to serve your gift, to serve up your business, to connect people, right? To do the manual work that it takes to put the right people in the right place and then let them shine. That's just awesome.
Awesome. We got a message here, a question here from Mr. Kevin Pugh. It says, if I already have 3 gifts in the 70s, do I consider the server scoring at 69 as a 4th gift?
Once you finish all 7, then do your assessment. So those top 3 scores are going to be your top 3 gifts. If that 69 is only 1 point off of your 3rd gift, then make sure that you're balanced. That's all you have to do. Because if it's only 1 point off of your top gift, say your top gift is a 70, and then your 4th gift is only 1 point separated, it's a 69, you're going to operate in a lot of those characteristics. So make sure you pay close attention to the problem areas so that you don't fall into those problem areas. But leverage it to be greater in your business. Absolutely. Say, you know what? All 3 of my top gifts may be in the other category, but depending on who I'm dealing with, I know I can be a good server today. So I'm just going to be a good server, and I'm going to help them out because they may not want somebody that talks to them all the time. They may be speaking gifts. Speaking gifts don't like people to talk to them all the time, unless it's a teacher that's learning or an administrator that's learning from a teacher, right? They want to talk. So let them talk and serve. If those are the people that you're trying to win over into your business, let them talk, you serve, because you know you can do it well because you scored a 69.
Great. Mm-hmm. Last thing I'm going to say is I know that this has helped me because, as you know, prior to the COVID-19, I traveled a lot. We do Saturday meetings, setting up hotels and all of that stuff. And so oftentimes, you know, we need help because we need somebody to take care of registration. We need somebody to help set up the chairs, and we need to have somebody set up the projector before the speaker goes up to speak. Mm-hmm. And so all of those types of activities are activities that you give to a server. Yes. And so now that I, really understand that, as we hopefully get back into, to our hotel meetings and going out and meeting folks, we'll be able to put the right people in the right place during those times when we're hosting our meetings.
Yeah. A point I want to make on that too, June, is this. Those who had an opportunity to do all of the reading, and you certainly don't have to, we'll give it to you the way you need it. But for those of you who did do the reading, you'll find there was an organization that Katie Fortune, the author of the book, used to run. I believe it's called Aglow, and it was a women's organization. They had more people. In fact, they had 100% volunteers, 100% volunteers, but they had better attendance than most businesses with those volunteers. Why? And it's because they made sure that their people felt appreciated. And so they put the right people in the right place, and they made sure that they were appreciated. So the overwhelming majority of their people were servers. Servers love to help out. Servers love to do the manual work. Like you said, setting up the cameras, setting up the chairs. They love to do that. And especially when it's a big organization or an organization like MyEcon, that person that really wants to be successful in the business, give them an opportunity to do that. Let them, because they feel like they're contributing, and people want to be a part of what they contribute to. So you're going to get somebody that's locked in that may not be doing that well in the business, but because they had an opportunity to help. Man, I helped set up today. This was great. And I put the chairs in place. That will get them to the next level of them trying something different that's going to work. Why? Because they feel like they're a part of it, even though it hasn't opened up for them. Right? I once did some work with a multi-level marketing company. It was an ACN, American Communications Network, I think it was called. And we were selling long distance. And my motivational gift is teaching. I didn't know it then, but my motivational gift is teaching, right? I taught on the data before they even announced the data part. I had an opportunity to go teach on the data, and the people that was hiring the business was hating on me because I was still a field trainer, which is the entry level. Well, he shouldn't be doing that. But I had the information. So the lady that heard me was like, hey, my executive field trainer called me and was like, hey, I want you to teach us because we don't know nothing about this data. So I taught it, right? And they hated on me for that And I never had an opportunity to teach it again. It's cool because I left, went to Verizon and became a data SME and made a lot of money doing that. All right. So sometimes you got to leave and go where you're appreciated, but operate in that gift.
All right, so we got a couple of more questions that's in, but I got Mr. James Q. Beck. He raised his hand. So Mr. Beck, we have allowed you into the room. Mr. Beck, if you'd like to unmute yourself, and if you got a camera, you can unmute your camera and we're listening. All right, that was Mr. Beck. Let's go into Katina Artis. She says, I scored high with the server and I know I am a server, but I'm in leadership at work. I hate talking in front of others, but my job wants to keep me in my position as they feel I do an awesome job. How do you think I can make this work?
All right. You're going to have a conversation with your leadership team and tell them where your strengths lie. Okay. And if they still want you to be that person, then I want you to get to the point where you begin to appoint people to say that which you laid out. You may have to give them the notes. You may have to sit with them in private one-on-one, which is more comfortable for you. But there's something in business that you are now I'm not going to say a victim of, but I'm saying you're a product of, and it's called the Peter Principle. The Peter Principle is the short phrase is called the promotion of incompetence. Not saying you're incompetent, but you're going to understand what I'm saying in a minute. Lawrence J. Peter came up with the Peter Principle that says people that do very, very well, and when you're talking about a server, I'm going to tie this specifically into what we're talking about tonight. People that do very, very, very well at a particular position, leadership has a natural propensity to say, let's promote them because they're the best doer. And you literally become like Magic Johnson, who was one of the worst coaches ever in the history of the NBA. I love Magic Johnson. Y'all know that. I've already used him as a giver, and I'll probably use him and highlight him again. Love Magic Johnson. He is awesome, but he was a terrible coach, but he was a great player. Why? Because he was put on earth to do that thing, not to coach others and make them great at it, right? That's the Peter Principle. So it sounds like you were so good at what you were doing that they're like, she is the best. Let's promote her. And you're like, I don't want to stand in front of people. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to train people. I don't want to teach people. And I don't want to show people how to be who I am. That's not what I do. I do. So let me do. So you need to have a conversation with your leadership team and look up the Peter Principle and take it to them and say, I believe this is where I am right now. Now, because you believe in me, I'm going to need you to allow me to put the right people in front of the group to talk to them. I'm not a talker. I'm a doer. That's why I was so good at doing what y'all promoted me for. I'm not a talker. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a motivator. But let me appoint somebody on my team and a little bit of money where we can give them a little 5% raise or something, or I can give them a gift card every time they help me so I can get the right team together and you put the right people in front of you. Right? Right people in front of them. Because if the knowledge is needed that you have because you did it so well, give it to the right person and let that person be your Aaron, which is your spokesperson. That's going to bring you happiness until you can get to a position where you're making more money than you're making now doing again. Don't stop looking for that position, because now I'm thinking I got a little angel on my shoulder right here named June Collier saying, hey, move up or move out. And if you can't get into the position that you really want to get into, where you're an individual contributor, if that's what you truly want to be, find a position where you're making more money as an individual contributor and set your exit plan so that you can be happy at work. Oh, June, you're on mute.
All right. We got a couple of things going on here. Let's go first to the question Miss Sheila has. She says, how do you score when you have the same score for two gifts?
Oh, go to the tiebreaker unit. Yep. Go to the tiebreaker unit and answer those questions. In fact, when you get to the tiebreaker, go to the tiebreaker unit. If someone can find that for me, Spicy, I'm going to ask you to do it. I know you're doing the reading. Find the tiebreaker unit and put it in the chat. But when you get to that tiebreaker unit, let someone else ask you the question. Don't read them. Let someone else ask you the tiebreaker question, because there's scenarios in the tiebreaker unit for every tie score. So if you score the same as a perceiver and a compassion, there's a compassion list of questions for compassion and perceivers, and however you answer those is going to break your tie.
Good to know. Good to know.
Mhm.
All right, here's Miss Spicy. Miss Spicy says, when you have learned the traits of your supervisor and learned their tickers, but your tasks require you to steer towards the dome. Why is the middle management so fearful to address it with the bigger boss? But the server is ready to go in and give it to him the way. Okay, Ms. Woodhouse, I'm gonna need you to type that in again for me.
Okay.
Or just come on, I'll let you ask your question live. Mr. Roger Pierce says, great seminar, brother Lyndon and June. How can I get or obtain a copy of the book to take the gift assessment?
Discover Your God-Given Gifts. You can get it on discoveryourgift.org. You can get it at Amazon. You can get it at Walmart. Discover Your God-Given Gifts by Don and Katie Fortune. Don and Katie Fortune. That's the singing Nuke there, June. We used to sing together and they go, yo, yo. Chapter 28. Chapter 28, for the person that asked that question, is evaluating your profile sheet. Chapter 28, the tiebreakers. If you have the new version, the tiebreaker begins on page 208, and you can do those tiebreaker questions. But when you find them, let someone else ask them so you're not biased, because you're going to know what you're reading and you may be biased.
All right, we got Ms. Long. She is live on the line, or at least she was there. I don't know where she went. She just left. All right, Ms. Long, if you will unmute your camera and unmute your audio, we will take your question. If not, I'm going to ask Ms. Woodhouse. I'm going to see if I can get Ms. Woodhouse on the call here. And if she will come on, she can ask her question. So Ms. Woodhouse, if you will, if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask your question. There you go.
You got me? There I go. Hey, y'all. Okay, here's my question. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, y'all know what's going on in the world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to face like different trade-out commanders with a comment that I made. It wasn't nothing bad, but what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to talking about what's happening with this world, why is it that you can't get your leadership to go in there and make that call done at the lowest level? Why is it that management is, you got to be coached into doing what you know is the right thing to do? But people like us, we like, okay, I'll go tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we so eager to go and be the to just say what happened because our player just won't do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, and what you're dealing at. Yeah, and what you're dealing with is a culture. Remember, we posted about cultures in the Purpose Founders Academy earlier this week. You're dealing with a culture, and there's only a certain when you're dealing with government and when you're dealing with strong business structures, when you're dealing with governmental structures, there's only certain people to get promoted, and it's a certain type of person that gets promoted. And when you're dealing with a military situation or a police or a civic organization where it's controlled from the top down, only certain people are going to get those leadership positions. And many of those people, I won't say they're all yes people, but they follow a certain hierarchy. So a lot of those are administrators that are not going to break the hierarchy because they're administrators. They're not perceivers. They're not going to go against the grain. They're administrators or teachers who believe that they need to follow an actual course of action that's established by the leadership. So they're not going to go against the grain. And so you're dealing with a culture. It's not really driven by the gifts, but it's driven by the fact that only certain personality types and certain giftings are going to be elevated to those positions because the powers that be know he's going to do exactly what I tell him to do. You see, I can't have a perceiver. I can't have a perceiver in certain battle situations because he's not going to do it. He's just not. I'm thinking about Saul in the Bible. I'm thinking about Saul in the Bible. God told Saul, man, kill every man, woman, child, donkey, cattle, kill everybody. I want you to kill everybody and destroy everything. God told him that. Saul was a perceiver. Saul was like, man, I'm not doing that, bro. Man, there's some good stuff over here, man. I got some fat gold chains. I see a dookie rope over there, man. I see some gold and some onyx, some resin. I'm keeping that. So he kept it. And God dealt with him severely because he didn't do what God told him to do. See, you can't have certain people like that with that strong personality that's going to buck against the grain. No. So who do I elevate? I'm going to elevate somebody who's going to follow the order. Administrators follow order. And if you got the right perceiver in place, he will follow the order. Even if it's wrong, he's going to follow the order. So because of that, you have to deal with that culture. And if it's not going to change, what you do is you do what you can do. Just don't draw negative attention to yourself. Because as a perceiver, they're going to flip it on you every time, every single time. Ah, she got a bad attitude. It ain't you have a bad attitude. You just tell the truth. But telling the truth is bad in the eyes of some people. So you got to be very careful.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the flip happened. The flip happened to make people put social media posts out there to talk positive leaders, sergeant majors, and people that have done great things in the Army, their career, and not post about what we're feeling.
Yeah.
That was the flip.
Yeah. So, and again, people are going to post what they feel if they feel it. So if they have those server gifts that are driven partially by emotion, if they're a compassion gift that's driven by all emotion, or a server gift that's partially driven by emotion, or an exhorter that's partially driven by emotion, that emotion is going to motivate them. They're going to post, especially an exhorter. They're going to say something stupid and lose their jobs. So you got to be wise and, think to yourself, all things are permissible, but not beneficial. So don't say anything that's going to get you in trouble. I'm responsible for you now. I ain't responsible for them. But if you're going to try to help them, tell them to be wise in what they post. And if it's insensitive in any way, it's probably better not said.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
For
pray.
now.
Pray. Remember, we talked about it. Perceivers, pray. Pray about it. Pray about it because God that can change the racist person is the person that you pray to, because he can change them. You saying, oh, you're a racist piece of crap. That ain't gonna, they're gonna say, you know what, she called me a piece of crap. I'm gonna start dating a black woman right now and stop being racist for the rest of my life. That ain't gonna happen. Your screaming and yelling is in vain in most cases. So, get their attention the way you need to, whether it's an organized protest, or whatever you do, just make sure it's legal and make sure it's beneficial to someone who's gonna receive it. Because there's certain people that's gonna pose with their knee on the back of somebody's neck when Black Lives Matter walk by. They're going to throw you the finger. They're going to say Heil Hitler. They're going to say KKK and white power. They're going to do whatever they're going to do to continue to hate you. Some people were put on earth to hate. That's what they do. Pharaoh was destined to hell. There was no way he could have gotten out of that. He was put on earth to do the bad things he did, to harden his heart so that God's people can see what they needed to steer away from, as was Judas. The Bible says it. They were doomed for hell. There was no way that they were not going to be able to go. There's some people I'm convinced on this earth right now, they're doomed to hell. They're on earth doing what they're supposed to do, and that's hate us. Go on and do what you do best. I'm going to do what I do best, and that's love you back best I can, unless you cross me on the wrong day.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Woodhouse. We appreciate that so much. So we are at the hour. We're at 9:30. We're actually a little bit over. Again, I want to thank everybody for jumping on the Sunday night call with June Collier. We have this call every Sunday night. We've got our special guest here, Mr. Lyndon Early. He is covering Discover Your God-Given Gifts. Next Sunday, we're going to be talking about my favorite gift, the teacher. We're going to be talking about the teacher. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this information. I hope you've enjoyed the class, the training. Man, tonight was a really good training. I appreciate you, Mr. Lyndon Early. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you again Sunday night, next Sunday night, same time, same station, same place. So until then, God bless, take care, and we'll see you next Sunday.
God bless everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.